Lisa Caslin, and my company is Prosper Communications. I'm a longtime communications specialist, and I've really grown to love search engine optimization. I'm a person that loves words. I'm a writer, traditional journalist, PR person, and I found that SEO has really sort of differentiated me in terms of who I am as a professional, and really helped to kind of bring me into the 21st century and help other businesses kind of get with Web 2.0 in a way that really is meaningful and helps them to tell their story. So today I'm going to talk to you about trends in the first part, and then in the second part I'm going to give you some really basic block and tackle tactics that you really have to be doing now in order to remain competitive. And you know, I'll just preface it with some of this stuff may not be terribly exciting, but it's also not terribly difficult to do. And if you do it, and you do, tune into the local opportunities, you really can make some significant headway. Okay. I just came back from a conference that's hosted every year called SES New York, Search Engine Strategies. And at that conference, we obviously learned the latest and greatest trends that are taking place, and I'm sure all of you have heard about social media and local, and now mobile, and the three together, is sort of this triple threat of, storms, right? That are really making Google and Bing and Yahoo and smaller niche search engines sort of sit up and say, wow, okay, we know that there's a lot of smart people out there, and they're always trying to game the system, myself included. So what's a way that we can kind of tweak our algorithms that really serves up results that are meaningful to the people who are issuing the queries, and also sort of push to the side those who are bright but not really delivering what the searchers are looking for. So this is where social media comes into play. So if you are really good at what you do and you're putting out really, really excellent, relevant content that your audiences really want to know about, they're going to retweet that, they're going to like it, they're going to link to it, right? So this is another very important signal to the search engines. So now, if you haven't really attacked this animal, you really can't kind of leave it on the back burner anymore. You have to get involved with social. So I'm going to walk through some aspects of social, local, and mobile that you really need to tune into, and then just give you, some high-level thoughts on how you can really refine that strategy. And then I'm going to go into the tactics on the SEO. So first, as I said, the algorithms are changing. Google and Bing have acknowledged, yes, we are paying attention. So we all have our heads wrapped around Twitter and Facebook. Everybody knows, okay, we've got to be on there. Guess what? Google launched Google Plus last June, okay? Now, I bet dollars to donuts that most of you in this room are probably doing very little on Google Plus. Who is doing something on Google Plus?
Very little.
Right, okay. Now, this presentation is not a social media presentation per se. This is a social media discussion I'm having with you tonight. So, having my social media, my search engine optimization cap on, I'm telling you that you have to pay attention to Google Plus, because Google is still the 800-pound gorilla when it comes to search. They have launched a social network for a reason, and as you'll see, actually let me still see over that. As you'll see here, this is an example of how Google is integrating results from Google Plus. Right? Sorry, I'm blocking. So if you just do a query, AT&T, these are, no surprise, AT&T site is going to come up, and then you've got your little local pack here. But then over here now to the right, what's that? Oh, guess what? It's AT&T's last post on Google Plus. Why is this important? Well, I mean, AT&T is AT&T, right? But now we have another opportunity, another way to surface on the first page of Google. So, what do? Go to Google Plus, start building your profile there and start getting active. social. So, create a Google Plus page, add social plugins to maximize engagement, interlink deeper pages with social media properties. So, on your website, you don't want to just have add this, which is a social plugin, on the home page. You really want to have it on your blog. You want to have it on important service and product pages. So if somebody lands there, right, they have the ability to share it on Facebook, to bookmark it on Stumble Upon, or Dig, Delicious, what have you, right? And then if you're just starting out, it's not a bad idea to look at Facebook and advertise on there. It's relatively inexpensive, and you can target, I mean, unbelievably. I mean, you can literally say, I want to reach women between the ages of 20 and 25, you know, who are married, like to ski, and bite their nails. You know, it's incredible, and it really doesn't cost that much money. So it's a good way to start kind of kicking off the momentum on your social activity,
including geographic.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Local. Okay. And does anybody have any questions so far? Because I know I'm going really fast. Okay.
Actually, so make sure that everyone can hear you. Is the air conditioning too loud?
Yes.
I know it's.
I do have a question though.
Yes.
What exactly is Google Plus? What do you do on it?
Okay. Facebook is a social network. You're familiar with Facebook? So Google Plus is sort of Google's Facebook. It's another way for you to network. The way that they're differentiating themselves from Facebook is on Google Plus, you create circles. So you can parse the people that you're connected with in many, many different ways. So you can have people who are into technology, people who are, you know, business contacts, people who are friends and family. So you can kind of slice and dice in a lot of different ways, and then you can cascade your messages out in a way that is very targeted based on those circles. You can also have a business presence on Google Plus.
Yes, about that because
that's new. That's started in January.
Most people here probably have a personal Facebook page and a corporate Facebook page. I mean, I do.
Yes.
So.
They launched in January. This is very new. They just launched the ability to create a business presence on Google Plus. So you wanna look at that too. Local. As we all know, there are only 10 spots, right? 10 positions on each Google page, right? So, you know, not if everybody in the room was doing the same thing, not all of us could be on page 1. So it's very competitive. But over the last, you know, year or so, 2 years, Google has really said, you know what, local is super, super, super important. And to them, it's important because it's advertising, right? So they've launched Google Places, right? Now, Google Places gives people like us, who are local businesses, and particularly retail restaurants, right? Beauticians, plumbers, things of that nature, where their business really is local, an opportunity to compete with huge national corporations, right? Because the way that Google uses its algorithm to serve up the results, they know where you are, right? And I'm going to show you this in a second. I'm going to show you an example of a search that I did and why it's so important for you to do this. But Google is essentially giving you a free page on their website. And I don't know, does anybody here have a Google Places page filled out? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Do you?
I don't have one, but I use it for when I'm searching for businesses. Yeah.
Okay. So, out of everybody that's here,
No,
who has filled?
You pin yourself.
Who has claimed their Google Places page?
I have.
You have. Robin has. Okay. So 2 people out of this entire room. So the statistics bear out. According to Google, it's like less than 10% of people have actually claimed it. So this is a huge missed opportunity, right?
They make it for you, and then you.
What they do is they're scraping the internet. They're going to directories like Yelp and Yellow Pages, and that is essentially creating a placeholder for you, right? It's got some bare bones information. But if you're not optimizing that Google Places page, you're missing a huge opportunity, right? So, and I'll show you in a minute, but claiming it, filling it out so it's 100% filled out, and it'll tell you can go in there and it'll tell you, yes, you're 100%, or no, you're not. And then getting citations and customer testimonials. When I say citations, I mean whatever niche or industry that you're in, you need to tune into what are the directories that are listing folks like me. I need to make sure that I have my name, address, and phone number, website on those key directories because Google is pulling from those, right? And then you need to get your customers who really, really love you to write reviews on there. Yes?
So business is not like a retail-oriented business. It's like a little more consulting, and your clients may be corporations.
Yeah, so you're like me. So Google Places really isn't, it's more of a B2C play. So you're a B2B?
Business to consumer?
Business to consumer, yeah. So it's not necessarily...
Well, I'm both, but...
Yeah.
I probably, if I'm going to invest time in SEO and all the other stuff, I probably am not looking for the retail customer.
But here's the thing. It's not going to take you that much time to do it. Yeah. So why not err on the side of caution?
When you say claim it, what does that mean? It means it's waiting for you?
Verify it. So when, and I'll show you, you'll see on my next, actually I'll just move along now.
And I have a question.
Yes.
If I ask people, clients to write reviews, does it matter if they do it on Yelp or like, because Google Places will take it from Yelp, right? Or is it?
It's still good if it's on Yelp. It's still good, but it's better if they put it on
directly
Google,
out to Google Places,
because that will affect your ranking on Google.
Right.
The more reviews, if you need 5 reviews in order to get stars.
Got it.
On the Google Places page. So at the very least, strive to get 5 customer reviews so you get your stars. And obviously, and I'm going to show you this in a second, the more customer reviews you have, that's the signal that like almost trumps everything. And I'll talk in a minute. You can actually rank on page 1 of Google and not even have a website. So, yeah.
Is that something you would really be concerned with at a magazine, for example? Like, you don't really review a magazine, do you?
This isn't going to be a big thing for you. You have content.
Yeah.
So
we're trying to draw people into this.
Yeah, I mean,
using social media.
Right, exactly. So I think, you need a keyword strategy.
Keyword.
You need, and then you need to understand your keyword strategy, and then as you're, maybe modifying or tweaking what's in the print publication for digital, you need to be, need to be tweaking it that way and using those same keywords on social media as well when you're.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Also, we have a member here who just recently joined who has herself listed on Google Places, but there's a link from her website to Google Places so that people can review once they're on her website and on Yelp as well.
Excellent
So
tactic.
pretty smart, yeah.
Really smart tactic.
Do that.
Yeah, you can create coupons on here. I can, but I wasn't going in that direction tonight because it'll take a little bit more time. But
back next
we
year.
need another workshop. Next time, yes.
So for a magazine, it would be more toward Google Analytics and keywords than it would be us.
It's not. I think that they should still claim their page. So you should still.
Okay.
Yeah, you should still go on to Google Places and see what's there. I'm sure there's something there for Westchester Magazine. Okay. And then, let me just show you. I'll come back to this slide, but I just want to show you here. Okay, so when you go on Google Places, and I'm sure there's some kind of a placeholder, and I'm sure somebody's claimed it, but if not, you'll see here, business owner, verified listing, it'll ask you. This is an unclaimed page. So you'll click through, and then you'll fill out all the information, and you'll essentially be claiming the page. And you want to do that because you don't want somebody else claiming your page,
Yeah.
because then you'll essentially own it.
Well, once they do that, can you make them unclaim?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can. You know, it's not. Yeah, but people have done it. People have
Okay, so
gone
just
in and
how do you
claimed
search for your stuff?
other.
Yeah.
How do you just start?
Find
You
your
go
page.
go on Google and put in your company name into the Google search.
And if you
Just
don't
go
have
back
a
here.
retail or like a, if you're like a freelancer and you don't have like
A physical
Yeah.
thing. You'd put your home address there.
and,
Yeah.
So if you're not listed there, can you create a page?
Yes. Yeah, you can. So I just want to render this point explicit and just, kind of drive it into your minds how important, the local angle is. So we're all going to search and see what's going on with our Google Places page. If for some reason you don't have one, and there's a chance that you might, because, if you're not like a fully registered business, if you haven't been around for a long time, if you're not on any directories, there's a good chance you don't have a page because Google has nothing to scrape from, okay? So if you find that you don't have one, you can easily create one, right? This is just an example of my friend Rose. I said, you know what, let me do, Rose Coleman. I said, let me do a search on gift baskets. So I said, okay, gift baskets, Westchester, New York. What's going to come up? So when I did that, my good buddy Rose Colonna, who has a company called Tasteful Treats and Treasures, she came up here in the local pack. She was the second one, which is good. I said, okay, let me check out what's going on. So I clicked through to her Places page, and of course, she's got it all filled out. She's added photos. She's got one review. She doesn't have 5, but she's got 1, and she's second place. So I said, you know what? What's going to happen if I just put in gift baskets and I put in no geographic delimiter? And I did that. Because Google is so smart, Google knows where I am because of my IP address. The results are not exactly the same, right? I'm still getting some national, right, results, right, which makes sense. But she's still on page 1. She's number 4 in the Google in the local Google Places pack here. So you got it? If she did not have this page optimized, I'm telling you, she would not be here. Make sense? Because gift baskets is such a broad term. It's like insurance.
When you're doing that search, are you on Google.com?
Yeah.
So you're not on some.
No. This is a regular search that you would do.
You're not clicking like places on Google
No,
or anything like that?
I'm not.
Does she need to be worrying about what words she puts into that profile?
You can, yes. She's putting in, they're called categories on there, and the categories are sort of, equal to keywords, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the last point on this section. Again, I mentioned before, I did a presentation on Tuesday, the same presentation. I said, okay, let me just, for grins and giggles, I'm gonna query Google on restaurants, Brewster, New York, because that's where I was doing the presentation. So I pull up the query, and lo and behold, has anybody heard of the Red Rooster Drive-In in Brewster? It's very popular, okay? Yeah?
It's been there for a million years.
It's been there for a million years. This is funny. So the Red Rooster is on page 1 of Google. They don't even have a website. They do not have, and their Google Places page, they have one, but guess what? They probably don't even know that they have one because it's not claimed.
Oh.
But what trumps all of this?
Reviews.
Google is the almighty. Google is God. They still know that they need to be on page 1. Why? Because 117 people dig that restaurant so much that they went and found and looked for their Google Places page and entered reviews.
Wow.
That is why they're on page 1. Now, if I was you and I had a restaurant in Brewster, I'd be all over this. I'd push them off page 1 like faster than you could say Jiminy Cricket. Because all you have to do really is get your reviews up, right? Get some more reviews up, claim your page, right? And do a little bit of optimization because they're doing nothing. They don't even have a website. Okay. Lisa? Yes.
So they're coming up on the Google search page primarily because they have a Google Plus. They claim their space and all that kind of
They're
stuff.
only
Like
coming up because
reviews.
there's a Google Places
Got
page,
it.
and the Google Places page is only there because Google put it there.
Okay.
They didn't even put it
It's the
there.
reviews. It's
They
the
haven't even
reviews
claimed
that
it.
them on.
Make sure that everything on your site is shareable in some way, shape, or form, right? Through social media. Pay attention to Google Plus, it's really important. Start cultivating a presence there and developing your network out in that arena. Keyword research. You probably did your keyword research, relative to your core terms that describe who you are, what you do, but now you've got to tweak that a little bit and make sure that you're homing in on those geographic areas that either you're doing business in or that you want to expand into, right? And then finally, we want to make sure that our site is accessible via mobile devices. Okay, so second phase of the presentation. I'm gonna baffle you with a lot of stuff here. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to you about some SEO tactics that you really have to do now. I mean, there's just no choice. This is like the bare minimum, and yes, some of it is complicated, but you really need to pay attention to it. So we're going to talk about three major areas. The first is keyword research, on-page factors, mostly related to content development, and then off-page, which is link building, which a lot of people tend to have some difficulty with, so I'm going to spend a good amount of time on that, and I'll answer your questions. Okay, so keyword research. Most of you have a website here. May I ask what kind of research you all did, how you did it? Anybody want to raise their hand and be brave? Yes?
Competitor research.
Okay. And did you use any tools? Did you use maybe Microsoft's AdWord free tool, or did you?
I think we did actually.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, yeah, I think we did.
Okay. And when you did your keyword research, what sort of went into that whole process?
It was mostly targeted towards, like areas of proficiency, the areas that I'm working within, and geography. That would be the second level, but pretty close to being the first level.
And were you able to see how frequently that the terms were being searched versus your competitors as well?
Yeah, and that's how we were able to make the decision to go one way and not another.
Okay.
Right.
And how did that work for you?
Seems to be working well.
Good.
I'm coming up pretty.
Good.
I'm coming up pretty high in the rankings, but I'm doing, I don't have a Google Plus page, but on the super pages, the recommendations there are also bumping me up.
Good.
And I'm like coaching people to put the same words
Yeah.
into
Good.
but yes, we did the AdWords but mostly, honestly, to get the idea of where I needed to be, I had to look at what my competitors were doing.
Yeah.
Very, very closely.
Good. Good. Anybody else want to share what they did or didn't do, or yeah?
There's the keyword search tool, the keyword research tool.
Yes.
In Google AdWords.
Yes.
So we did some phrases,
Yes.
various possible phrases to borrow from what you're about to say. Think about what people might type in. And I had somewhere in the online course I took, there was like a grid. So we would put in a word and see how it, how many people were searching that term.
Yes.
And then we also would put the search term into Google and search it and see how many websites there were.
Yes.
Right.
So if something like if there was more than 10,000 responses of competitors and fewer than certain number of people searching, then it wasn't a good choice. But if there was more people searching and fewer competitors,
Right.
that was a hot keyword.
Sweet. So you were able to cross-reference
Yeah.
that way.
So we were able to
Okay.
cross-reference, we made a little Excel spreadsheet. We tagged,
Yeah, I
you know,
can see.
we
Good.
saw the top
Yeah.
3 and we worked it up.
So this is great. Thank you for explaining. So based on what Karen and Jonathan just shared, you kind of have the sense that it's yes, there's going to be general terms that are going to explain what it is you do, but that's not good enough. Especially if you're a new business and you're just launching a website and you're in a pretty competitive industry, insurance, let's say. I mean, you don't have a snowball's chance in hell for ranking on the term insurance, right? I mean, it's just not gonna happen, right? So you've got to be a little bit more strategic and thoughtful about how you research that. But maybe if you put some long tail thought into this and you add some creative words to it, right? It actually ends up being more fruitful in terms of buyers, because people have intentions when they search. The more general the term, the less likely they're in the buying mode. They may just be in the, I'm collecting information mode. So pretty car, as opposed to 2012 green Mazda, is different, and that person is in a different frame of mind, right? So
What's a green Mazda?
I don't know why I said that.
I'm sorry.
I'm a girl. You know what I'm saying? So it behooves you to sometimes spend a little bit of money, even on a tool like Word Tracker or LinkDex, right? To find out the real data behind how people are searching, and search out those pockets of opportunity where there is a pretty decent level of searches being done, but a really lower level of competition. And especially if you're just starting out, you want to take advantage of the low-hanging fruit to get yourself started. And then as you start building momentum, you can start going for those more competitive keyword phrases. Content. This is the bane of many people's existence. Shara knows this too. So content is still king. Great, you've got your keywords, but if you don't have content, you have no place to put the keywords, right? So you need good copy. And last year Google announced that big algorithm change, right? The farmer algorithm, or Panda, whatever it was called, and a lot of these content farms got dinged. And it was a good thing, because it really has raised the bar in terms of you're not, just because you put out a bunch of stuff with a lot of good keywords in it doesn't mean that equals to good stuff, right? So we want to make sure that we have a blog that will enable us to refresh our content on our website, and we want to be incorporating keyword terms that are good, viable, trending, right? And we want to plan, because planning makes the stress go away. Not everybody is a writer, and everybody gets freaked out about, oh my God, this blog. And now the best practice is you've got to blog at least once a week, even more, right? It used to be once a month.
Oh my God.
So and I'll show you some ways to do it. But the first step is, and Ellen, you know about an editorial calendar, right? Even if you just say, okay, look, I'm going to do 6 months, I'm going to take my keywords and now I'm going to brainstorm, and I'm going to figure out some key topics that I can write about that will allow me to incorporate those keyword terms, and you map it out, and the stress will really lift off your shoulders, because you know what's coming. You're not thinking every day, oh my God, it's done. And then finally, and I'll explain more about this in the forthcoming slides, but having a blog does really build your credibility, and it's social media link bait. So now you've got this great blog residing on your site, and now you've got fodder to push out through Facebook and Twitter and Google+, right? It's driving people back to your site, and it's a relationship building tool. You could basically extract,
like quote it.
Exactly. You could maybe lift a paragraph out of it, right, and put it into your blog, just as long as you're setting it up in the beginning, explaining referencing it, because
Say you have the site where the
I encountered this, blah, 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 and as an example, I just read this great article in blah 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 blah, put it in there, and then at the end kind of say, so to my point, da 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 da, and then end it with.
Do you get any more search engine credit if you embed a video?
Yes, video is an awesome tactic. It really is, yes, because it's still an area where a lot of people are still not doing it. And now with universal search, Google is including video and photos on the first page now, and because there's not a lot of competition with video, it tends to bubble up onto the first page. So yes, absolutely.
But
is
that video
very-
doesn't have to, you don't have to put it on YouTube, it's just in your content.
You can put it on YouTube, but then you can embed it onto your site.
Who owns YouTube?
Google.
Google.
Yeah, you wanna go with
the
you-
video, right?
You might as well, if you're gonna do a video and we're talking search engine optimization, you might as well put it on YouTube. Even though you might lose some traffic, you'll get a lot more search engine activity.
And you can tag it. You make sure that you tag it too.
Okay, I have a question. So I have a design blog on my Facebook, my corporate Facebook page. Can you generically explain, if I were to have a WordPress blog on my website, in any way you'd like, explains to us if I do which starts first? Which starts first, the chicken or the egg? Do I post on WordPress first or post on Facebook first? Just like make
On your blog. So
I put it on my blog. I found, okay, I'm at the photography show, and there's this 18-foot photo of a rhinoceros, and I just can't.
Yes.
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I have to tell everyone.
Right.
Now what?
Okay, well, I can answer that in a couple ways, but I'll answer it this way first. If the main objective for you is to get people back to your website,
Correct.
then what you should do is you should write a blog about that experience, and then once you post it, you'll grab your link, and then you'll go back to your Facebook page, and
Let's grab my link.
you'll go to the address bar on the top of your
Oh, the link to
your
Your
website.
blog.
The
You're
WordPress.
gonna put it
blog,
on-
right,
You'll
the blog.
copy that, and then you'll go back to your Facebook page, and you'll say, hey, I just went to this awesome show, I just wrote a blog about it, if you're interested in reading more, go here.
So
right.
I'm going to redirect them to the WordPress.
You're going to put in the link, and then the link will hopefully, you'll put an image on your site, so when
Right.
you put the link into your status bar, that image will be transported magically to Facebook along with the meta description tag that you included, and then they'll hopefully go back and read it on your site. Now, the second answer to that question is, if you want to build more fans to your fan page, another tactic that you could do is you can create a note, and you can essentially write the blog on a note page
Where? In WordPress
And
or
Facebook.
on Facebook.
Right.
And then that will actually generate a URL. And then you can tweet that with those. Well, all right. It doesn't take that much time. It's just, huh?
Finish what you're saying?
Yes, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, what you were just saying,
about-
even though it's a little bit hard to
Oh,
digest.
about the
finish
notes
it.
pages.
We-
About the notes pages.
So
okay.
write something on a
So
note.
so you create a notes page. People are crying. Yeah, that wasn't the intention. So you create a notes page. You can incorporate a photo. You can tag other sites. So let's say as part of that, you were referencing the Museum of Modern Art. You can put a tag in there, and the Museum of Modern Art will see. Oh,
Right, yeah,
yeah, got it. So then,
then you go,
after you're done, it goes onto your page.
then you have a URL.
You'll click it and you'll see, oh, okay, it's got, you'll grab that, you'll go onto Twitter and you'll tweet about it, you'll reduce the link
Right.
and and then it'll bring people back to your Facebook page and you'll trick them into liking you. Love you forever and ever. Amen.
Lisa?
What's the maximum, what's the maximum, you said there was like 300 words is kind of what you should be doing? You can't
That's
be-
not, no, I'm just, I think
like,
a
you do
minimum,
one-
it's
one-
like, well, think yourself, how much does it take for you to get like the bare minimum of a point across, right? Shara, how many words do you need? 250, 300? You know what I mean? In order
Yeah,
to,
you can just do a few one-liners and like a photo and that's sort
Well,
of.
that's
your
what I was
you
outline.
going
can
to
do
ask.
it, it's just
But
not,
you're not gonna.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you need to have a little bit more copy there, a little bit more words.
It offers up that you're really thinking something through and that you really have an opinion, which gives that whole expertise kind of thing.
Yeah, and you don't want people to come to your site and be like, oh, yeah, okay, we know what this is about. You were tricking me to come to your site.
Unless she's an aerialist, so unless it's a visual photography.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right,
that's
exactly.
true.
That's what I was
That's
trying to
true.
get.
In terms of SEO, like, does it matter?
Just
how many
make sure
words
that you
have?
use the alt tag on all your images.
Could you talk about that? All
The
the
what tag?
tagging images and tag, like
Yeah.
the tagging your posts.
Okay. That's
I know
where I'm
that.
at now.
Wait, I have one
God,
short question.
you are
about
SEO.
that. Because I had a little aha here, and it maybe as a support what you were saying about, because even though I've written the book, I don't like to sit and look and come up with the words. So what I've been doing is, Monday mornings, I have a dial-in show, and people call in, and I just,
Cool.
welcome a few people, and I talk for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a Monday morning motivation thing, and then I say, how are you gonna use this week? And people think about how they're gonna use it, and that's a 15-minute phone conversation.
Yeah.
And the 5 minutes in the middle, we edit it out, we take the 5 minutes as a little audio cast, and I have someone that for $25 just listens to that for 20 minutes and not transcribes, but just gets the gist of it and writes it up for me.
Oh, that's cool.
So I get a blog written, I get this audio thing that gets posted, and it's like, now I'm blogging every week.
Pretty cool.
Now, it's wonderful. Now,
Well, you're not,
but I'm doing
but.
it for a year, and it has not really changed my search engine
Well,
activity.
maybe that's why.
So my question is,
Yeah.
because I'm not putting in any of the keywords, I'm just not saying executive coaching, business
Amazing.
coaching every
Yeah.
week. I'm not saying it any week.
Okay.
So should I and can I at the end of every post say, and if you'd like to explore executive coaching or have a free coaching session to explore this topic further, or somehow, even if it's the same little at the end of
Why
each
not?
one every week, will that work as a keyword placement, or do I gotta I don't see myself coming up with good content if I've gotta force the words executive coaching,
Yeah,
business
see, that's
coaching
the other.
every week
Yeah.
into
He's
the
right.
content.
But, there's this notion of, it's called, what is it called, semantic, I forget what it is, semantic something. Basically, Google is so brilliant that even though you're optimizing for the keyword, dog biscuit, and the blog that you wrote says dog food and dog snacks and dog treats,
Yeah.
it's still going to help it's still going to contribute to the overall theme of the page as being relevant to that search. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
What
as
you're-
you're saying that, I'm thinking, people, never mind, let's go on.
okay.
I got it.
Can I ask one question,
Yes.
Lisa? Somebody once told me that you have to get those keywords in like your first sentence of your blog post. Is that really true?
Well, I mean, look, you need to, and let's talk about it right now. Okay, I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna set it up for you. So, on-page factors. Just remember that the search engines don't rank websites; they rank individual pages. They have these little search engine bots that are crawling through all of your pages, right? So that's why every single page on your website needs to be optimized. And when I say optimized, what does that mean? It means that if you've got a list of 20 keyword terms that really are relevant to what you do, you need to make sure that you've got 20 pages on your website that are optimized for each of those keyword terms, if you're really serious about optimizing for those 20 words, okay? Now, when we talk about technical little things like tagging and such, the most important tag on every single page is the title tag. That is still the most important tag, because the search engines recognize that instantly as the piece of information that's telling them what the site is about. So your keyword term has got to be in the title tag. I would almost leave out the name of your business if you don't have enough room. I think you have 65 characters in the title tag. In your title tag.
So the title tag is the same as the title of your blog, or no?
No, it's actually your coding. And do you have a WordPress site?
Yes.
You do, okay. So do you have any kind of a search engine optimization plugin on your site? Do you have like an SEO all-in-one pack or Yoast or anything like that?
Isn't it the thing that's up on top that comes in up
That's
on
the
top?
address bar.
No,
Yes, that
above
is the
that.
title. Yeah,
Yes.
that is the resulting title, but you have control over that.
Yes,
So
so you can put in specifically what you
Yes.
want. But if you can read it, everyone
Yes.
can read it up
Yes.
there. And the bot can read it, but you can also read it.
Right.
So it needs to kind of make sense.
You're creating it.
So how do you choose what you like? Okay, for us, like as a magazine.
So let's say, give me what was an article that came out this week or whatever.
50 hotspots for Westchester's coast.
Okay, so that's it. I mean, that's the title. That's
So
it.
you're not talking. You're talking about the title of that page, i.e., like posts, or are you talking about at the top of like the page
Yes. Yeah. Show her. Show
like
her.
at the very top where it says Westchester
Above the
Magazine.
navigation bar.
Yeah.
Is that
Yes.
what you're saying? And you can control that.
Above. Yes,
you can control that for each blog post or
Yes.
article post.
Yes.
Because I think ours just says Westchester Magazine.
Yeah,
for each
because
one.
you're not optimizing it. But you have to you have
I
to
don't think our
you got to partner with your web developer.
right.
You have to talk
We use
to
a
him.
CMS.
Do this all yourself.
You can actually.
And I don't know if there's a field for that for us.
Mine says
There is.
interior
There is.
designer.
Where is-
We have like meta tags and meta
Yeah.
Meta
That's
tags,
it.
exactly.
That's it.
But
It's
there's
one
meta
tag
tags
each
and
one.
meta description.
Yes.
Meta tags are keywords, and we were told it doesn't really matter.
No.
And meta
Okay,
description
there's-
is like a sentence that shows up.
Yeah.
There's a title tag, there's a meta description tag, there's a meta keyword tag,
Those-
and
the
then
last
there's header tags, right?
I haven't seen header tags in our.
You do. The header
Page
tag
one.
is. Do you have your computer there?
I'm actually in work.
Can you go onto a website, any website that's got content?
Yeah.
A header tag is basically when you get to a website.
Can you do it
It's a
on your
headline.
computer?
It's like the headline of the story.
Yeah.
That's a header tag. It's bold text, and it's basically saying, oh, okay, this is what the story is about, right? 50
Okay.
places,
The title.
Westchester, blah, blah,
Okay.
blah. Okay, so that's going to be in bold,
Yeah.
in copy. That is an H1 tag.
Okay.
That's an important tag, because again, that's an indicator to the search engine bots that, oh, okay, let me pay attention to this because that's telling me what the story is about. So if at all possible, try to get your keyword in there. Now, remember, we're writing for the readers, so don't freak out over it. It's just, these are the best practices and will help you. But you're a magazine, you have to write for your reader. You can't write for search engines.
Who would you personally use as a developer? Web developer?
Oh my God, if I could find, I've had so many bad experiences.
And we all have.
all have.
Really?
Yeah.
You've had a lot of
I've
that?
had a few bad experiences. I have a couple of people that I work with now that I trust and are good. I think that what I found is cheap is expensive.
You're right.
Cheap is
So-
expensive.
so
And
true.
I
Don't try to
do
do it all
websites
yourself.
for clients, and I outsource that. And when the client's like, I don't have a budget, and of course you try to do the right thing for your client. You want to get the lowest price possible. What I find that has happened to me in the past is going that route has cost me more money because I've had to fire the developer and then go to another, and it's just a nightmare.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, no, I want to ask a question when you're done with
Okay, yeah. So I think just like you would buy anything, I think personal referrals are always key, looking at the work that they've done. And making sure that they don't say yes too quickly. Because I found that folks that have said yes too quickly didn't really take the time to think through what the project entailed, and then they couldn't do it. And they bailed. So.
Well, that's the problem. There are a lot of charlatans out there, and
Yeah.
They should be asking you a
Or they
lot
get
of
overwhelmed
questions.
and they bail.
right,
Yeah.
or they get overwhelmed and they bail.
That's what I have
Yeah.
found.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't it also the case that you can have a title on your blog post that the reader sees in a different title in the meta tag? You can actually go in, on WordPress, you can actually go in and change the meta tag if you want to, alter the keywords a little. Because sometimes a keyword-rich title may not be as capturing of the imagination. It may not,
No,
be as,
you
as,
can't.
as
the problem we
intriguing.
have.
The title tag and the meta description, unless you're talking about something else, but the title tag, you don't hide. The title tag and the meta description tag are the two things that a searcher will encounter when they do their search on Google. So, whatever you code in as the title tag, right? You're going to see that when you pull up your Westchester magazine on Google and it surfaces, you're going to see that title tag, and you're going to see the meta description that you put in for that particular story. So
Right, but she doesn't have to write that as the actual title of the blog in the context
not the
of the
blog.
content.
No, we're talking about. We're not talking about the title of the blog. We're talking about the title of the page.
Of that
Yeah,
content.
but she was talking about that little article. That's why.
Right.
You can make it make it a captivating title.
Well, the problem
to the
that
reader,
we-
but then
The problem we
meta tag
face
it more.
is that we come up with all these editorially creative titles that, they're clever,
Yeah.
but it doesn't tell people what the content is about when you're actually searching for it.
Yeah.
Or when you just see it on the
Yeah.
page, you don't know what it means.
Yes. Right.
Unless you're looking at it laid out on a page and there's a visual, or
Yes.
like you're pulled in somehow. So we basically have been making these literal titles for the web. They're very watered down, and they just have like the literal terms of what it is. And we have advice that I don't really know how accurate it is, but we've been told to basically feel free to make it word salad. Put in cram as many keywords, make it long. Put the town. For us, since it's a regional magazine, put the town it's in. What it's about.
What I would say to that
waterfront, dining.
That's ridiculous. Okay.
Really? Because that's our main problem.
Because it's now it's like the what is it? The tail wagging the dog. It's not appropriate. You have to.
I'd love to know why.
Well, it's common sense. You need to be armed with the information that I'm partly telling you tonight, but you also have to cater to your audience. So if I'm coming to your website and I'm seeing this ridiculous title with stupid, dumb things in it, I'm going to think, what the hell's going on here? This doesn't make any sense for me. So there has to be a logical balance in satisfying the search engines, but what's more important is making sure that you're doing business the way that you're supposed to be doing business, and satisfying the reader. So a good SEO is always going to tell you, write and create copy that is important and relevant to your reader. Don't ever sacrifice that, right? So you got to be smart and know what the rules are and try to play within that sandbox, but if it ends up being inappropriate or ridiculous, then you're not going to do that.
Some of the titles that we've had to use are they're longer than the deck.
Yeah, I mean, just what I would say to your boss or whomever is, pull out, show best practices. So pull out really high-end publications that have huge circulations and show them how they're doing it.
Right.
Can you talk about tagging photos, because that's
Yes.
important too, right? But I don't
Yes,
exactly understand
it is.
And I would think that might be
Okay,
important too.
so I know we're taking a tremendous amount of time, so all right. So an alt tag, that's the name of the tag that you use when you incorporate images on your website. And it's an ALT. And it's important for a couple of reasons. First of all, there are a lot of visually impaired people in the world. And the alt tag, if you scroll over it, will, if you incorporate the proper software, actually read what that image says. Secondly, if there's some issue on the website and something is broken in that the image for some reason is not rendering properly, it will serve up the tag so the person can at least read what it's about. And in our case here, what we're talking about tonight, the search engines can read the tags. So we want to make sure that we're including the tags and, when appropriate, incorporating keywords in those tags. Make sense? Okay, where else? I talked about the meta description tag, header tags, you got that. Okay, the alt tags. Creating links. whenever you have an opportunity to, do something on social media, write content, and have it, served or hosted someplace else, don't automatically link to your homepage, please. Link to other content on your site. It's really important because you want to make sure that you have links that are dispersed all throughout your website. That's effective for you from a marketing perspective, right? Because you've got interesting content all over the place. And it also is another signal for the search engines to visit those pages, and also helps you rank for those other keyword terms that you may be optimizing for on those pages. Hygiene on your site. I am not a developer. I mean, I know some limited coding just because, right? But I have tools. I know about tools that will help me, right? And you should know about these tools too, and you should be smart about directing whoever is doing your web work as well. So, one of the places that you need to go to is the World Wide Web Consortium, w3.org. If you put your URL into their HTML validator tool, it'll bring up any errors that you have on the site, any broken code. That's very important because broken code is an obstacle for the search engine bots. And if they encounter a broken piece of code, they may say bye and not come back again. So you want to make sure that you fix that. And then we talked about this before, making sure that that your website can be shared. So you want to incorporate social widgets as appropriate, right? Add this is one that I like, and in one fell swoop, you can give them all the options that you need. And then finally, let me just finish this. HubSpot, great organization. They're brilliant. They have a bunch of free tools. They have a grader, website grader. If you're just starting out and you want to just get a feel for,
I have a binder of their downloads.
Aren't they great?
20-page PDFs.
Yeah. So, it'll bring up some high-level dings, you don't have a title tag, or, you're this, you're that, you don't have a blog, or you're not here. So I would suggest trying that out, putting your website in there and seeing, sort of what comes up. You have a question?
Yeah, is there a benefit, to having more pages on your site? So let's say I have a really basic, I want to just get some information across. Is it better to get it across in 5 pages or in 3? Like I have recommendations and contact information. Is there a benefit to putting those 2 things on 2 separate pages, or to just have a really long page?
No. Oh my God. No, never do that.
Never do the long
break
page?
it. No.
Oh, okay.
No. Break it up. Make because the more pages that you have, the more opportunity you have to rank for keywords.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about, there's a lot to cover here. Oh my God, I'm going to try to go as fast as I can.
I don't care if you go over, it's up to you.
I know, all right. So now we're at the off-page factor link building section. A lot of people struggle with this. I'm sorry. Because it's hard. That's why they struggle with it. So link building, even though we talked about those other trends, social, local, mobile, link building is still a very, very important facet to, credibility, authority, all of those, all those good things. So I'm going to give you 5 points tonight that you guys can all experiment with and try to implement as part of your link building activity. The first is guest posting. Pretty straightforward. You just do some simple Google research. You can enter in some of these suggested keyword terms, right for us, and then whatever it is you do, plumbing, right for us, graphic design, and you will surface hundreds of blogs that take guest posts, right? And then you're going to start to make your list. And once you start making your list, you're going to really do some research. You're going to get to know these blogs, understand their style, the tone, how they write, all of that. Then you're going to start making some titles that are kind of synergistic with the type of content that they're putting out there, right? And remember, you're not promoting you. This is about educating. This is about providing content that's unique and that will help them and their readers. your gimme is the nice fat juicy link that you're going to get back in return. So once you've done all of that, and you decided, okay, I've got my short list now of targets, you're going to want to look at their guidelines. Okay, how do I approach these people? And you're then going to craft an email, and it could be something like this, pretty straightforward, introducing yourself, giving them the title of the article that you're looking to write and why you think it's important and why it will be meaningful for their readers. And by the way, if you don't like this idea, hey, I'm willing to write anything that you want. Just give me a few titles and I will get back to you with an article. Thank you very much.
Is it important that it has to be published anywhere else?
Yes.
Like if it was on your blog and
No.
you wanted to repurpose?
No. Has to be original content. Has to be, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Say you
No
create
excuses.
original content for them.
Yes.
Could you still post it on your blog? Like if you're really,
It's duplicate content.
and that's a problem?
Yes.
Because I write for my blog and then it's something like, you know, like workingmother.com posts it. That they've asked me to blog there, so I can't, what I give them, I can't have on my own site.
No, I mean, it's not that you can't have it, but it's, one site is going to get credit for it and not the other.
I don't care. It's just like I'm just so hurting for content that if I write a blog post for them, actually I put it on my site and then the person who puts it on theirs goes to my site.
Are they
and
crediting? Are they giving link backs? Okay.
Yeah.
But it's,
and I have a bio there.
and then there's a fine line too, right? So that is, you know, acceptable, but it's not ideal. One of you is not going to get all the benefit from it, but then you have the other scenario where people are literally going to sites and stealing content and putting it on their site, and that is, you know, really not cool, right? I mean, it's
But if it's your own content, and so what you're suggesting is if you're trying to become a guest blogger, you can't put that content on your site.
you can put it, what I would say is similar to what I was saying earlier, if you sandwich it with, you know, some language that says, you know, hey, I just worked with, you know, Family Circle and da 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 da, and they, you know, they posted a blog that I wrote, and, you know, I want to add something to that, you know, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Try to add some more value and change the copy somewhat so it's not identical. All right, so where's the link? When you're successful and you are, you know, taken up on your offer, you'll have an opportunity to include a link back to your website, and it'll be most of the time in a biographical section. You know, Shara Sokol is, you know, an authority on da 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 da, and her website is da da da. Now, it's great if you could do anchor text. Sometimes they won't let you do that. Does everybody know what an anchor text link is? No. Okay. An anchor text link basically is, let's say your keyword term is organizing your life. That's a keyword term that you're optimizing for. So in your bio, you're going to say, you know, Lily Weiss is a professional organizer. Her life is all about, you know, organizing, whatever. That section, life is all about organizing, is going to be highlighted, and the link to your website will be through those words.
Right.
So that will be the hot link. That's what you'll use to connect back to your site. And that is another signal to the search engines that, ooh, those keyword terms are really connected to this person and this site, and okay, and it's on another site, so it really must be true, incredible, and important.
So if you guest post, the hot link shouldn't be like, and her website is, you should hot link from those words in her bio.
It's better for you if you can be tricky and try to talk about what you do and then link back to your site using the keywords instead of the company name. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the name of my company is Prosper Communications, but in my biography I might say, you know, Lisa Kasdan is president of Prosper Communications, specialist in SEO communications. Now, instead of linking from Prosper Communications, I would link from SEO Communications. because that's giving me more, because people aren't searching, people that I don't know aren't searching for prospect communications. They're looking for an SEO communication specialist, and I want to be found for SEO communication specialists, not for prospect, you know what I'm saying? So you want to be found for the keyword terms that describe what you do, because the people that already know you, right?
It's interesting.
Okay. Okay, interviews. This is really huge. This is, I'm telling you, I do this all the time, and this really works. And not only is it a really great blogging strategy because it takes so much pressure off you, you don't have to do all the writing. You're basically calling in complimentary experts who are creating content for you, for your site. And, well, I mean, in exchange, you're going to allow them to link back to their site, right? But the expectation is you're also going to help promote this, right? So you are going to use your social media following to put this link out there and get people to come back and read the story. And guess where they're coming? They're coming back to my site. Yay! So it's a really good strategy. And I mean, I've used it, and it has resulted in relationships for clients with other large companies because it's the flattery factor. People love to feel like, oh, wow, you want me to write a blog? Well, thank you, you know. So it's good, you know. So it's, you know, simple enough, 4 or 5 questions. They'll give it back to you, and, you know, you'll edit it, clean it up, and then post it.
Lisa, what about interviewing like on a podcast? I mean, is it better to have it in print? I mean,
But you could do, why can't you do both? You put the transcript of the podcast. That's what I would do. I love podcasts. I think they're great. Actually, Shara is a great person to talk to about that.
Lily about, right?
Yeah.
About interviewing her for a podcast.
Yeah. So I would definitely do the podcast because people have such short attention spans. I think anything that's visual or, you know, just listen. I can, you know, listen to that in my car. It's awesome. But getting the double benefit of then getting the transcript
Right, there's
and
companies that
linking, linking the transcript there is a good idea. Okay, reviews and testimonials, great. You know, maybe there are tools or whatever product services that are related to what you do that help you. You could write about your experience using them. Call the company and say, hey, you know what? I just used your whatever widget and it was great, and I just wrote a review about it. Well, if I'm that company, I'm going to be pretty happy, and I'm probably going to link to that review because I want my customers to see a good review about my product, right? So it's another way for you to get an inbound link to the site.
And this helps with your page ranking if someone's linking to it.
Yeah, it's again has to do with your authority. So it's another sort of badge of credibility. Yeah.
Does anyone do all these things? There must be.
I'm wondering,
There must be some approach.
It's hard.
What can you say? And I don't, you could maybe finish this piece and then maybe say something about the approach
Yeah.
to
Okay.
prioritizing.
Absolutely.
Because I
Yeah.
can't imagine
I know.
even you being hired by
I
a
know.
company to do more than 25% of all of this, or a tenth of this.
Yeah.
You can't do it all, right? I mean, would you speep to that in a moment?
Yeah, we'll talk. Okay, so you're doing
Thank
it.
you.
All right, so sponsorship. You've fallen asleep. You're like, oh my god. Sponsorship and donations. This is just another little, you know, tidbit. You'd be surprised at, you know, how many organizations, you know, you give them $20 and they're willing to give you a link back calling you out as, you know, a donor or a sponsor, and they're willing to give you a link back on their site. So, you know, it's another thing for you to kind of look at. You can do, you know, Google search in your area to see kind of what's going on event-wise. And then finally, I think we're at the end here, guys. Blog commenting. This is the most obvious, right? So you're gonna look at blogs. I know none of you like blogs, but you're gonna look for some. You're gonna read some, and you're gonna look for some that have the WordPress, that have the comment love plugin. Basically, what that ensures is it's a do follow. So any links that you incorporate in your comments, they will allow their visitors to follow that link back, and that will give you full SEO credit, right? So I've given you the search query here that you put into Google to surface some blogs that have the plugin as a way to get started. And you know what? It's block and tackle PR. You know, you just start nipping away at it and developing relationships with these bloggers, get to know them, and start commenting, and you'll get good response.
So you're saying that there are some blogs out there that if I write a comment and I include a URL, they won't allow that URL, that won't actually get posted?
They have do not follow, yeah. Actually, the WordPress platform, by default, is a do not follow platform.
Do not follow.
Yeah, but as I said, people are smart about it. They want to entice people to comment on their blog, so they're using this plugin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you add the plugin to your website?
I don't understand the part you haven't read at all.
Okay.
Can you give an
so if you wanted to look for some blogs that had the Comment Love plugin, because these would be good blogs for you to look at, because they'll actually allow you to put
What part of that do you type in?
Site in the Google search query box, you put in site:.com space in URL :blog space Comment Love. LUV.
But you only
Space Comment Love?
Yeah.
But you only want blogs that are in your field. So we're in that query.
You're gonna have to do research. This isn't like a turnkey thing. You're gonna pull up a bunch and you're gonna have to look through it and find stuff.
But am I gonna come up with blogs about like beating and fishing and tackle and everything in that search? That's just
what you'll probably find is you'll find some expert blogs that have already done the research that include lots of blogs that are
It'll redirect
yes.
you.
Yes.
Do you find that using incorporating the Facebook commenting system into your own blogs has any impact on SEO?
You're talking about the live Twitter and Facebook feeds? I think it's a great...
No, not the live Twitter and Facebook feeds. You are able to actually use Facebook's commenting system to have people comment on your content. Like, they wouldn't have to create and register an account on your page in order to comment. They already have a Facebook account and they can comment using that.
Like Westchester Magazine, you have to
make an account.
You have to make an account.
You have to log in every time.
I've sent people to coverage you've had of my firm, and they have to log in. It's a physical login process at Westchester Magazine. What she would like them to do is just, if they commented on their Facebook page, right from the...
Facebook there's something you can do with Facebook where your website can just say comment with Facebook, whatever.
Exactly.
And most people are already logged into Facebook, so when they leave a comment, it leaves the comment as their Facebook identity, and it gives them the option on your site, and when they're leaving the comment, it allows the option to also, for that user leaving the comment, to post to their own timeline, which shows other people.
Yeah, you want that absolutely.
So, because we're thinking of doing that, it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I would definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would put all of those, the Google Plus and Pinterest. Just because you're a publication, you guys need to be doing Pinterest.
We've heard a lot about that,
but the only thing I know is copyright stuff associated. I forget I said
that.
Yeah, they're still trying to. All right, prioritizing. So,
thank you.
Where do I start? I know it's hard.
Sounds like Google Plus is pretty important.
It started with Google Plus. Yeah.
Well, I think that it depends on where you all are at. I think that everybody should know where they are in terms of their keywords, because I think that that's the foundation, and the way that I run my business, that is the thing that drives every strategy. It's even part of the PR strategy, because those are the pockets of opportunity that your competitors don't know, and where you can possibly beat them out. So if you don't know where you stand in the search, you need to find that out. So I think that's the first step. Doing some keyword research, seeing, you know, where you're surfacing, who's beating you out, getting a feel for that. Then, once you know sort of the direction from there, I think your content strategy comes second. And then I think, you know, obviously using that content then to feed your social media efforts. I mean, at a very high level, that's the way I would go.
So keywords, content.
Keywords,
social media.
content, social media.
And if you're going to use a video, is there an optimal length for a video?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
No more, less.
It's 2 minutes or less.
Yeah, 2 minutes or less.
What's too short? Like
10
I
seconds.
posted a video and people said, that was too short, it was
10
so
seconds.
good.
Oh.
Gotta make a point. Something at the
It
end,
was a good
right?
point,
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
but it
okay,
was
well,
good, it was yummy, so.
Well, that strategy I told you about the blogging and the podcast, can the video be 20 seconds of, good morning, hope you have a great week this week. This week's
Sure.
topic is blah, 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 blah. Read or listen.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
And then transcribe that.
Because, you know, and you have a great personality too, so I think it's like, no, you know, but it's still about like the relational thing, you
Yeah.
know, like when you see a person as opposed to just reading, it's a different experience. So what you're saying is, I don't have to go on for hours, I can just kind of say, hey, give the introduction and then bridge to the meat and potatoes. I think that's fine.